this next assignment, we're going to be using the pigment-liner ink pens. If you look at your set of pens, you'll see there's a number on each one. That number indicates the width of the pigment applying part of the marker. If you look at this is the 0.1, it's the thinnest, and this is the 0.7, and you can see that the tips are very different in width. So unlike pencils, where you vary the line weights based on how hard you press or the lead that you choose, the width, which is essentially the line weight, is set in these pens. When you draw a line, it's very similar to the pencil, except you really want to try to keep this pen as vertical as possible. So it's not, we're not sketching like this. The pen is straight up, put the pen down, move across, stop, and then pull up. And you'll get a nice even line. You want to try to avoid moving and then just fading out. Your line will start to taper, and these are drafted lines, and we really want to make sure that they are straight. Point 1, put my point down, drag across, stop. So you can see this is quite a bit darker. Just adjust the camera here. Just put these lines down. This is the 0.7. And it's important to put the cap back on after you use each one, because these tend to dry out, especially the thinner ones. 0.7, 0.5, 0.3, which actually looks very close to the 0.5, and 0.1. So you can use these to, in the same way you use line weights with your pencils. You just choose the individual pen. Something else I want to point out on your triangles, if you feel on the edge of your triangle, there's a little sort of ridge, a little edge here. And that's called an inking edge. And when you put a line on the triangle, you get a nice clean line. If you didn't have this little divot, the ink can sometimes pull underneath of the plastic and spread out across your drawing. So that little edge raises the plastic off of the paper just a little bit. However, a lot of the plastic still touches the paper, so you really want to try to avoid making a line and then going over it. It can sometimes start to smear. It takes just a second or two for it to dry, so you might want to think about which way you're moving the triangle and the parallel rule. One last tip I wanted to leave you with is that you need to go slowly. Before we put a point down, moved across, stopped completely, and then pulled the pen up. That gave us a nice even line. If you do the same thing, but you start slow and go quickly and then slow down at the end, just like with the pencil, you'll get a line that's much lighter and thinner in the middle. And that will really affect the reading of your line weights in your drawing. So really want to go slowly with these, especially the thinner ones. As these markers tend to dry out, it takes a little longer for the pigment to flow onto the paper. So very similar to pencil. Take your time with the lines.